Hello, good night. Yes, this is I know everyone might be confused to see us here. My name is Yazmin Ford from the show Siembra, and there is a little bit of collaboration for the month of October because this is the last lapse of the race of this big election. And I know that every election year we said that this is consequential, the elections are consequential, but this is different. This is very different. So Chris came up with an idea with me and Jose Chavez to sit down and the evening times for the month of October just to see how it works and bring all the politicians and people that are running public service and here in Tacoma, and not just here in Tacoma, in Washington State, and just to let them know a little bit about the people that are running. I think politics, I was telling you, Ryan, that I'm a junkie. And for the Spanish community, a lot of times they say I don't have time or I don't do politics. I said, well, politics is going to do you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because politics has to do, it's just a word, but as you think about it, it has to do with the water that you drink. Flint, Michigan, with the air that we breathe. It has to do with the taxes, with the schoolwork. It's right now in Seattle. Schools are closing down in Seattle. It has to do with the wages that we pay, with union, with the migrant here in the detention center. So if you don't think that you don't like politics, whether you like it or not, you're going to have people sitting down at the table making decisions about this. So you want to know.
Yep.
You want to know. So we have Jose Chavez here.
Yeah.
That he is from the 1
well,
hour
we're talking
show.
about politics already right away.
Yes,
Push
you
your
let
button.
me.
I would like to introduce our guest.
And then we have Ryan Mello.
This is Ryan Mello, and I'm going to read a little bit of his official profile. Ryan is a candidate for Pierce County Executive. Ryan currently serves as a chair of the Pierce County Council, representing District 4. He is recognized as a strong advocate for working families, housing, affordability, transportation, and public safety solutions. Previously, Ryan was elected citywide to Metropolitan Park Board of Commissioners in 2005. In 2010, he made history as the first openly gay man to serve in the Tacoma City Council. Thank you. Where he served until 2019. In addition to his council role, Ryan is a member of the Greater Tacoma Community Foundation and has served as the following board member of Equal Rights Washington and Transportation Choices Coalition Board of Directors. Oh my God, there's a mouthful. Ryan is dedicated to ensuring effective delivery of basic services, providing good paying jobs with benefits to everyone in need, maintaining affordability in South Sound for all income levels, and ensuring community safety. He is backed by the diverse coalition of firefighters, laborers, teachers, healthcare workers, and more. Ryan is proud to be endorsed by Washington Education, Planned Parenthood Alliance, Advocates, and Washington Federation of State Employees, Washington Conservative Action Alliance for Gun Responsibility, the Puyallup Tribe, and many others. Man, whew, I feel like I was reading a book here. Ryan, it's amazing that, well, first of all, welcome
Thank
to
you.
the Juan Hour Show Siembra. You are our first guest.
Thank you. Fun to be here.
She was saying, I just want to say a little bit that we're hoping that basically you get to know Ryan as the person first. To me, that's important. We're always going to be learning about all your accolades. But to me, I think in the Hispanic community, as I was saying to you right before we started, that a lot of people can relate to the person. Granted, we have a lot of smart people looking at your issues and what you stand for, but I think in the Hispanic community, when somebody votes, sometimes they think about the person more than the issues. And I'm hoping that you feel at home and welcome.
So kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was watching today the vice president. She your personal view, your experience, personal experience, walking in this that we call life, also has to do with the way you look at the world, and also the decisions that we make. So, first of all, I wanted to ask you, how is that you got here? Washington, beautiful, beautiful state.
Isn't it?
Yes, and most of the people, I got here because I got married by the military and all that stuff, but most of the people get here by default, and then they love it, but you didn't. You chose to come.
it.
Yes, I saw that.
So
and
that's a
you
good
said,
question.
Yes, you chose to come here to
Yeah.
go to Puget Sound. So tell us a little bit about Ryan.
Yeah.
Who are you, and why you decided to come here, Washington State, Puget Sound University?
So this is definitely my chosen community since 1997, and absolutely love it here. I grew up in Hawaii, as we were talking about earlier. I'm from Portuguese descent. My grandparents immigrated from Portugal to Hawaii. So mom and dad, my brother, my family still in Hawaii, and my grandparents immigrated from Portugal to work in the sugar plantation. They saved enough money to buy a cattle ranch, and they had a very vertically integrated business, slaughterhouse, cattle ranch, whole 9 yards. Grandma would make bread from scratch, 40 loaves at a time in the big stone oven. So I grew up with a really big family from Portuguese descent, and it's also where I got my love for working lands and farms and just beautiful nature and farmers, and because grandma and grandpa were hardworking cattle ranchers. So I moved here to go to college, went to the University of Puget Sound. So that's why it's my chosen community. After college, to be honest, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. My college experience was really good to me. So good that I didn't plan so well about what the heck I really wanted to do for a living afterwards. So I right after college, I did the Domestic Peace Corps, the AmeriCorps program. And I did the AmeriCorps program here at the United Way of Pierce County. And it was through that work of the AmeriCorps program where I got to meet so many different community-based organizations, so many different people in this community, and got to spend more time right outside of the walls of the university, out in community work. My job was to work with all of the school districts in Pierce County, high school students. My job was to help young people get into a lifelong ethic of service. So we started what we called the Martin Luther King Jr. Youth Day of Caring. So we got a couple of thousand people out on Martin Luther King Jr. Day to serve their community. We also designed the Letter and Community Service program where high school students could earn a varsity letter. Just like they earn a varsity letter for athletics, they could earn a varsity letter for community service to make community service cool.
Through their volunteer program.
So that experience got me out and about with community-based organizations, schools, young people, and I fell in love with this beautiful place and the people here and stayed. And so my successive roles in the community were more in conservation. So after that, really, I started professional work in conservation. I was the local lead for an organization called the Cascade Land Conservancy. So working to protect family farms and forests, and I even got to add to Mount Rainier National Park.
Oh, nice.
All kinds of cool projects throughout Pierce County. So I just really have fallen in love with this community.
So your love for public service, you think it was already there, but you didn't know? How do you, or you just fall into that public service? Because it's very extended, and most of your young life you had spent it doing public service.
I've mostly spent it in public service in one way or another, whether it be the Domestic Peace Corps or through nonprofit organizations trying to make our communities better, or in public service, serving as a public policymaker. My dad was a small business owner. And I worked for Dad for a number of years. It's how I made money as a high school student and a college student, so I could pay my books and pay for my beer money in college.
Beer money,
So
you went to the right school.
I learned a lot from Dad about how hard owning your own small businesses.
So what was your, it's a calling, I think. I understand because I also participated before with United Ways and account executive before. So I understand that, that safety net that you learn from the whole community and everything. But what was the one thing that kind of pushed you over, like, hey, let's get into policy making, or what was it, an issue, or, I've known a few politicians and, they took my sidewalk away, so I want to make a difference,
Yeah.
What was that to kind of get you going into the politics world?
This is gonna sound really corny.
Okay.
But in high school, I was a part of something. It's gonna sound super corny.
It's okay.
I was part of the Save the Earth Club in high school.
Well, hey.
It has to do with what you've been doing.
It does. And so, as a young person in high school, joining the Save the Earth Club, our big project actually was protecting the iconic Sunset Beach. Right? Many people have seen Sunset Beach on movies.
Yeah.
So
Preservation.
It was at risk. There was this big, fancy McMansion housing development up on the hill of, this is over 20 years ago now, that was going to be built across the street from iconic Sunset Beach. And Sunset Beach is in a very rural area of Oahu. And one road in, one lane each direction coming in and out, right? Not meant for lots of traffic and big McMansion homes. The development was demonstrated to ruin Sunset Beach, ruin the coral and the sea life of Sunset Beach because of the pollution running off from on top of the hill. So, long story short, that was my first getting involved in that project. We testified in front of city council.
Oh, nice.
We did all kinds of activities. I'm very pro-housing. Pro-housing in the right place.
We're going to move on to that here soon.
I believe in housing. I really do. But I believe in housing in the right place, not housing that causes destruction to the environment or causes undue burden to taxpayers and spreads costs. So, the right place for everything. Yeah. I'm not anti-housing, but I'm anti putting large developments where it doesn't belong, right? Where the infrastructure doesn't belong, or where it's going to ruin something. In this case, it was going to be ruining Sunset Beach.
Oh yeah.
So, long story short, we prevailed. The city council saw that this was not in the right place. So you got that in. They listened. So you got that in your blood, right? That win to save that beautiful, iconic place, and that was in high school. And you got a taste of what it's like to use public policy for good.
And when you organize and you advocate and all those things, it works.
It works, yeah.
So then, again, I just want to, kind of like I said, we're getting to know you because, I was just reading that you were also, your first thing was being in the parks, and how did it go for you? How did you, what kind of, how did it go? Like when you won the first time, were you addicted? Were you like, hey, I could do this, or?
I really did want to try my hand at being a policymaker and wanted to do it in things that I love, which is parks and recreation. I believe strongly in, our Metro Parks Tacoma system. It's award-winning, and it's award-winning for a reason. It's not just the 90 parks, Point Defiance Park and Wrights Park and all of these amazing parks, but it's also the programs that they deliver for families. Right, so many families depend on Metro Parks for the programs they have as the safe place for kids to go after school, or different events for families to enjoy on weekends or during summer. So I love Metro Parks, and being able to play a role in continuing to advocate for more dollars, making sure that the programs that they were delivering were equitable, that families could actually afford them, and that we had many free programs for families. And that we were really listening to the community and delivering the kinds of programs that families want and need, not just what some people think they want.
Well, you're going to have a lot of opinions. But, so then from there you moved on to city council, right? As me and you, we've faced issues against each other or with each other, so I understand. But tell me about that. I rember you were a deputy mayor for a while, and I'm kind of covering it a lot because we still got to move on a little bit towards the fact that you're going to be moving on to the county. So
it was
tell me
really
about your experience with that. What did anything that stands out that you're like, hey, that you're proud of that you ran as when you were a city council member?
I'm really proud of the work that we did to, things like build more affordable housing. One of the things we did was also to actually be the first in the county to pass what we call the behavioral health and therapeutic courts tax. The county would not pass this modest revenue, dedicated revenue to expand behavioral health programs, which stabilize more families, bring behavioral health programs to more communities. It's so important. So we were able to do that, really bring more behavioral health services and resources, everything from detox facilities for people who are suffering from substance disorder, whether it be alcoholism or drug addiction. They need medically assisted treatment in order to get off of those substances. Or mental health treatment, or co-responders, mental health co-responders to ride alongside and with our police officers. These are the things that we're funding with the behavioral health dollars to really help people stabilize, get better, get well. So that's one of the things I'm so proud of. Building more affordable housing, building more partnerships with community members. I was really proud that I got to lead the effort to really lessen pollution in this town. I championed the effort to stop the Port of Tacoma from having any more fossil fuel facilities, any more dirty facilities that are proven to cause cancer and increase negative health effects on so many people. We were able to stop any new dirty fossil fuel facilities from siting in the Port of Tacoma and really turning the tide of the Port of Tacoma from being a long-time dirty place to a more thriving and clean industry.
Tacoma for Washington State has been an industrial city for a long, long time.
And so we can be industrial and have those great manufacturing jobs, but make them cleaner and healthier for more people. And that's what we worked really. We continue to work hard on, and we took the first major step by saying no new fossil fuel facilities and no new oil exports or gas export facilities in our port.
Another thing, I don't know if I want to ask all the questions here, but they mentioned that you're the first gay councilman. First, congratulations for breaking that barrier. To me, those are barriers that are going to be, especially like right now with a lot of the transgender things happen nationally. So thank you so much. I remember one of the things when you were raising the flag on top of the Tacoma Dome. I thought that was so cool. That was an amazing thing for me. I thought
those symbols really matter, right?
Yeah, the representation.
So many employees and just community members I've never met before send messages of just joy and deep gratitude that they see a symbol of inclusion, and they're like, "Wow, how?" It really brings joy and inclusion to so many communities.
Yeah, and we live in a state that's very progressive. Washington State, I'm love this state for, it's so progressive. But one of the things I wanted you to, because I love politics and politics junkie, but for the regular person, a lot of times you get this bulletin with all the different people that are running and all the titles that they're running or the positions that they're running for. But you really don't know what that means, and you don't connect the dots. How is that is connected to me? I'm not gonna vote for him because I don't even know what that means. I don't know what he does. I don't know how he's connected to me. So I wanted you to explain a little bit, break it down in plain words. What are you running for, and what it means, how it affects the people here in Washington, in Tacoma.
Yeah, I love this question. Especially those of us that live in cities don't know what the county does for them, what county government does for them. And it's a lot. And the role of county executive is a county-wide role and is a really important role. It absolutely matters who serves the next county executive. So the primary job is to run day-to-day county government. And all of us actually get so many services from county government. Everything from Pierce County Sheriff's Department to the county jail, prosecutors and judges. Those are all, so the most of the criminal justice system,
the judicial
part is run through county government. And the programs that should be designed to help lift people up and out of a cycle of criminal activity are also run through county government. So if some people's criminal background, the cause of it is because of a mental health disorder. or a drug or alcohol addiction, or because of poverty. And if we can address those issues, it's demonstrated that we can get people out of the cycle of criminal activity. If we
So
can
you
help
want to
address-
find the cause first and find out
and deal with those
Yes,
root causes,
yes.
right? And the county government can and should play a major role in that. So the criminal justice system should be much, much more about than
Just
throwing
putting
people in
people in
jail.
jail.
That doesn't rectify behavior. It really doesn't. Now, violent offenders need to be in jail. We need to get violent offenders off the street.
difference,
There's a
yeah.
big difference to people whose criminal activity is demonstrated to be caused by substance use or mental health or poverty, those sorts of things. So the county government plays a major role in keeping us safe in the criminal justice. We play a major role in planning for how we grow, where we put jobs, where we put housing, what natural lands, farms and forests and parks and trails, how we provide for all of that, and other basic services. The county executive also plays a major leadership role, whether you live in a city like Tacoma or Lakewood, or if you live in unincorporated Pierce County like you do,
Yes.
in Frederickson or Spanaway or
Yes.
Parkland, where the county government is your local government. You get daily services from county government when you live where you live. But wherever you live in Pierce County, all of us get a tremendous amount of services, and the county executive plays a big role. So, for example, the county, collectively, the county delivers 911 services centralized, and the county executive serves on the board of directors of what we call South Sound 911. That's the governing board to the 911 center. That's an example of no matter where you live, the county executive plays a major role in helping to deliver a court. When you call 911, you expect it to work, right? Pierce Transit, Sound Transit, so our regional transit services. The county executive serves on those boards of directors and actually appoints the other members of the Sound Transit Board to represent us on the Sound Transit Board. The list goes on and on. The Workforce Central Training Board, right? The entity charged with making sure we have a skilled workforce for the jobs of the future. That is a county-wide agency that the county executive automatically serves on the board of directors on. You get the point.
Yeah.
There are about 20 different boards and commissions, everything from workforce training to behavioral health and homelessness to 911 to transit delivery. All of these, the county executive automatically serves on their board of directors and plays a major leadership role in delivering those services collectively for all of us, no matter where we live in Pierce County.
I didn't know that it covers that much.
Yeah.
And it is important because I think a lot of times, and me and Jose and myself was talking about the presidential election. And when I started, this is very consequential, but we don't think about how directly the local elections. And for Washington State, that has elections every year, we have elections
We love
every
elections in Washington
every,
State.
every year.
Yeah.
To hear this and to know that this is something that affects directly 911, that is crucial for emergencies, is eye-opening, So for me, my question is, so what do you think you can do to, what it is you vision that you can change to run that position? And
Yeah.
how it is that
What are
you
your goals,
think.
basically?
Yes.
If let's say we're gonna have a party, we're gonna celebrate. Let's say you get the win. What are you gonna do, like on the first day thing?
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do in so many different
And it
areas.
has to do a lot of times with the budget that you are gonna get.
And one of the main responsibilities of the county executive is to make a proposal to the county council. The county executive is responsible for taking the first run at the budget. So like the governor proposes a budget to the legislature, the county executive proposes a budget to the county council. So it's very analogous, as the governor is to the state, the county executive is to the county. It's very, very analogous. So there's so many things that we need to work on. We need more homelessness solutions. Right now, Tacoma is about 25% of the county's population, but has 80% of the homelessness intervention services. 80%. That's not fair to Tacoma, but it's also not effective for delivering homelessness services. It's demonstrated that when people can stay closer to where they become homeless to begin with, when they can stay closer to their social network, their friends, their job, their kids' school, they can get out of homelessness that much faster. I mean, it just makes sense after you stop and think about it, right? We all do better when we're around our social networks who prop us up.
Familiar place.
Yeah, your familiar place. But right now, we really move all homelessness to downtown to Tacoma. And they're out of their element. The kids still got to go to school. So we bus them from long ways to go to school. And they're far away from their jobs, right? It is a myth that what the face of homelessness is these days. The face of homelessness today are more people who actually work, but they still find themselves homeless. They have kids. They're older. The face of homelessness has tremendously
Those
changed.
are the people that we don't know that homeless.
We assume it's somebody who's having drug issues or
That's
problems.
what the media. That's what a lot of the mainstream media tells you, or what some people try to
people who
perpetuate.
want to abuse the system. I've heard of the Alice program through United Way, where people who are basically homeless, but they're working.
They're working. There are people who get up every day, go to work, take their kids to school, and come back to live in their car at night.
Exactly.
And they sleep in the Walmart parking lot or the Safeway parking lot. I've been on what's called the every year we do what's called the point in time count. It's the annual census. We choose the coldest night of the year. It's usually the very end of January, and we for 24 hours, volunteers fan out to the entire county, and literally it's a census. We count folks who are homeless, and we do a mini interview. It's about a 20-question interview to try to get to know that person. Why do you find yourself homeless?
Talking about census, and I don't want to change it because that's a good subject, but a lot of people also don't know how big your county is. What is kind of your perimeter? So people like, hey, am I in this county or not? I mean, especially a lot of Hispanic people are too busy to work, and they might not understand how big Pierce County is.
It's huge. We're nearly 1 million people.
Okay.
We go from the Key Peninsula and Gig Harbor on the Gig Harbor side of the Narrows Bridge all the way up to the crest of Mount Rainier.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's so many communities, right? Eatonville, Roy, Spanaway, Parkland, Bonnie Lake.
I think we are the second biggest in population.
We are the second largest county.
The second, second.
And so we collaborate, right, with King County and Snohomish County often to deliver services, transit services, economic development, transportation services. Another reason why I want to serve as an ex-county executive is to have someone who has relationships with others, especially in Central Puget Sound. Right? This is where the economic center is for our state here in Central Puget Sound. So having an executive who has relationships with others, knows how to work with others to bring projects and investments home to Pierce County, and use my relationships and knowledge to go to Olympia to advocate for us, to bring home investments to Pierce County. So that's a lot of what I'm going to do as the next county executive.
I always hear about the port being our engine to our economy here, and so I'm assuming that you're going to be working a lot with the port. Maybe the new extension of the freeway there is probably going to change things. What do you envision for the port too yourself as a commissioner for the county?
Yeah, so we're working on making sure the port is protected in terms of being able to have new jobs there that are good paying jobs, clean, good paying jobs. Our longshoremen work really, really hard to move household goods, bring household goods through this gateway, right? There are thousands of great paying jobs thanks to the Port of Tacoma. And in order to keep it competitive, means that we need to continue to invest in infrastructure because folks who this is a choice gateway. Folks do not have people moving goods here have really the choice. They could go to lots of different port. They will continue to choose the Port of Tacoma if it's quick to move their goods here through here. So really, time is money. So that means we need a skilled workforce. So we need to continue to have a great skilled workforce. I'm so honored to have the sole endorsement of the longshoremen who work down on the tide flats of the Port of Tacoma every single day. And so we need skilled workers folks who are shipping things can bank on, that we have a skilled workforce who knows how to move things around. And we need a transportation system that meets the demand, right? So rail infrastructure, trucking infrastructure.
I see they're turning a lot of the equipment on their green, pretty much.
They are.
LNG, and they're bringing it electricals. And
We're doing shore power
animation,
so that ships who come in can plug into shore power, don't have to pollute while they're sitting there. Lots of great investments.
Yeah. Well, and talking about, the pollution stuff, tell us about, I also, you guys are pretty much work a lot with the health department, right? I'm assuming that you do a lot of issues with the variety and safety of the citizens.
Another example of a core role of the county executive. The county executive automatically serves on the health board. And the county executive is responsible for hiring the public health director, the Tacoma Pierce County Public Health Director.
Yeah.
And you send a nominee to the Pierce County Council and the Tacoma City Council, but you're responsible for selecting that person in coordination with the mayor of Tacoma. So it's a big job. And you automatically serve as one of 9 board members on the public health board.
Okay.
So there's so many different.
But you have a lot of work to do.
And so how we make our community healthier really matters. We've documented with data that you can be in one zip code in one part of the county and have a 12-year life expectancy difference than someone just a couple of zip codes away. Yeah. That is shocking.
Yeah.
And so that all comes back to having a health department that is thinking every day about how do we lessen those disparities. How do we make sure that people of color and low-income people who don't speak English, have the same life expectancy as their white counterparts, right? Your zip code, your race, the language you speak, your income should not dictate your life expectancy. That is criminal. Yeah. Everyone should have the same access to a thriving, prosperous, and healthy life, right?
So I was thinking about there is a big crisis right now and what it means housing. And it's not different here in Washington State and in Tacoma. I think what's going on is that Seattle, I got too expensive to live in Seattle, and it's pushing the people from Seattle down to Tacoma, and the people from Seattle are pushing the people outside of Tacoma, where I live. Yeah. I see more and more buildings. And it worries me, because right now, today I was walking my dog, and I saw 2 possums, and we think, these little creatures that are, but we are pushing them out, and we need all these creatures. We need them in the environment. So how are we, because Seattle is forcing us to build more, So how do you guys, how it is that it's connected to you? How do you guys...
Actually, I'm really proud of him on this one, because I want to say Copperway.
Yeah, Copperway.
Okay, yes, a good time to mention that right now.
Yeah. We just opened the Copperway development. It's a 256 unit, every single unit affordable for families who make 60% of the area's median income. So for a family of 3, that's about $65,000 a year. So that's about a starting teacher these days, or a starting firefighter. So that's a family of 3 making about $65,000. That's combined, yeah, all in. So and so that's what that housing is made for, and it's permanently affordable. It's not just affordable for 8 years or 12 years. It's permanently affordable, and many of those units are big enough for families, so they're not these tiny little studio crackerjack apartments. Yeah. They're 2 and 3 bedrooms, so they're big enough for growing families.
Doing my research, talking to you, I thought, man, they're beautiful.
They really are. So we just opened it last week.
Wow!
And it's already 40% occupied. And families need access to this kind of permanent affordable housing, and not worrying that it's going to go up next month or next year, that it'll always remain affordable for them.
And I had a discussion with a friend about that. I said, I'm not sure is I like capitalism, because there's no rules. There's no rules, and there should be a cap, even for your taxes. I don't know if you guys have anything to do with the taxes too, but it pushes out if you taxes at my home taxes.
Well, Chris is kind of pointing my fingers, and I don't want to just cut you off at the end of
His
this program.
taxes go up, then my mortgage go up,
Yeah.
and then so I was thinking how it is that you guys, because one year, I think the 2020, my taxes went up. My house, and I went to my neighbor. I said, "Your taxes went up," and they said, "Yes," and my mortgage went up. And then me and my little busy self, called the county. They said, call. They said, we make the decision 2 years ahead. I said, but we in the middle of a pandemic. How are you going to increase your taxes on my mortgage? And they said, well, you got to talk to the governor. I called, we know the assistant, one of the assistants of the governor. And I called him and I said, he said, no, the governor don't have nothing to do with this.
We are kind of coming a little close to the program. I don't want to interrupt you.
So I was like, there should be a cap.
There should be a cap.
There should be a cap.
And we're trying to get especially for folks who, if your income can't keep up with those things. And so, we have a lot of work to do to get the word out, especially about low-income seniors, low-income disabled folks who truly have fixed incomes. But all of us don't have the ability to just raise our income to keep up, right? So we've got to really keep that in mind as we're working.
Okay.
Yes, it should be. So, and that's what I was talking.
okay.
The same thing with the insurance, like the home insurance. That's another big thing that worries me because there's no regulations. They decide that they're going to increase. Right now, we have what's going on in the South, that all the insurance they're leaving.
And they're just getting cut. They don't have any insurance.
Yes, and the people that pay for all these years now, what do you do?
Right. These are real things that families really struggle with. And so, we need folks who are willing to be really active and be a voice and understand how government works, right? And understand how we connect the dots and can be good advocates at the state level if they're the decision maker on a certain thing, or the insurance commissioner, which is a statewide elected official in this state. We need advocates who know how to navigate government and be the voice for folks. It's my job to know how to do that. The average person's busy running their life.
Guess what? Our time is coming up.
This is fast,
This is great. I know. It went by fast. I do. My producer wants me to kind of say hi to a couple of people who are on the line, and
awesome.
they're saying a few things. We got Mary Isabel Alcazar de Vargas. He says she loves United Way. He says hi. We got Hector Tito Hernandez. He says it's an excellent program. Also, we got Marcos. Marcos says, nice to hear from this young man. He's working a lot on the community. Young man. And other than that, we do have people watching us live.
Awesome.
So at this time, I'm going to have to kind of we'll have to wrap it up here. I did have one question, though, that you might want to put a couple cents before we go. I ran into a really good friend of mine, Amy McBride, and Carlos Ortiz were here, and as you know, they're very creative people. And one of the questions that came up, because they found out I was going to be talking to you, says, are you going to do anything for the creative community here in Pierce County?
I love that. This town is so beautiful and welcoming because of Amy McBride and people like Amy McBride, right? Longtime arts administrator here in Tacoma. I got to work on Tacoma Creates. One of the things I'm most proud of on my time with the Tacoma City Council is one of my last major projects was helping to design and put Tacoma Creates on the ballot, which the voters resoundingly said yes to.
I remember that. That was one of the big victories.
We overwhelmingly, the voters overwhelmingly supported this. So, I'm a big fan of that, how arts and culture can bring our communities together, celebrate cultures, help keep communities safe, bring our creativity to life. So, I'm looking for more ways to bring things like Tacoma Creates countywide and really stabilize our arts and education institutions, right? Our arts and culture is a great way to stimulate the economy. It's a great way to bring communities together.
Yeah, we're together.
So I'm really looking forward to bringing the ideas like Tacoma Creates to the entire county. Everyone deserves to have access like that.
Amiga, I hate to say this, but it went by fast.
It did. I want to give the last word to Ryan.
Okay.
Ryan, what would you, for this election, I think every year, And I'm not happy with the Democrats, but that's another show. That's another show.
I'll come back next week.
That's another show. But it is for real. It is consequential. It is consequential. So what would you tell someone that is sitting right now home and here in Tacoma about voting? I feel that as an immigrant that I can vote. So I'm voting for the people that cannot vote. I feel that I'm voting for my son. I'm voting for my to-be grandkids. I don't have grandkids yet. You know, it is really consequential. I don't think people really, really know how consequential this election is. It can change the whole fabric of this country in one election. That the other side has been working for years. This didn't happen in a vacuum. The Republicans have been working for this moment, and they got the peace. Donald Trump was that peace that they needed. You know, it's not Donald Trump party. It's Republicans and Donald Trump. They needed him to get to this point.
So what do you think?
So what will you tell people how consequential, not just locally, but also nationwide, they need to go out and support? I was thinking today, I said, this is not a prevention care type of voting. This is an emergency care. It's an emergency.
Yeah. These aren't normal times.
Yes.
These are not normal times. And, you know, we have to act like everything is on the line. That sounds melodramatic.
Yes.
But it really is true. Our fundamental freedoms truly are at risk. And everyone needs to use their voice, make their voice heard, and you make your voice heard by voting, you know, and I just really encourage everyone to make a plan to vote. So you need to make sure you have your ballot, make sure you have collect your resources about who you trust to learn how you're going to vote. So the organizations you trust, the people in your life you trust, gather those together, and then make sure you know how to mark your ballot, sign your ballot here in Washington State. We know that in Washington State we're so grateful it doesn't cost
easy,
anything.
yes.
So you pop it in the mail, no stamp necessary, or put it in a drop box. So are you gonna take it to a drop box? If a Dropbox, which one? Make sure you know what the deadline is. If you're going to put it in a post office box, do you know which one? And do you know the deadline? So it must be postmarked by November 5th, or know your Dropbox. So that's what we mean about making a plan, getting your ballot, getting your trusted resources around you, because there's a lot on the ballot.
Also, make sure you're registered.
Make sure you're registered, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also know that don't get intimidated, right? Don't let the length of the ballot intimidate you. That's another part of making a plan to vote. Is if there's something on the ballot, you don't know the person, you don't know the issue, you can skip it, and your ballot still counts. You can skip around and vote for the individuals or the issues that you feel confident about. Skip the rest, and that is okay. The rest of your ballot will count. So many people think you need to fill out each and everything, otherwise it won't count. That is not true. So do what you feel good and confident about. Skip the rest, get it in by the deadline, and surround yourself with the resources. Things like this show, who are educating folks. Things like, I use the Fuse Progressive Voters Guide on the issues that I'm less familiar with, because they do the homework for you. Or maybe you're part of a labor union, or maybe you're a part of Washington Conservation Action that fights for the environment, or Planned Parenthood that fights for reproductive freedom. There are other organizations who spend their time and their daily life doing all the hard work and vetting things for you. It's okay to lean on others who have done all the vetting and hard work for you and following their lead. I do that all the time, and lots of other people do that. That's what they do for a living. So lean on trusted advisors, trusted organizations. Of course, make up your own mind and make a plan to get that ballot in well ahead of the deadline.
And also vote for Ryan Mill.
Thank you.
Anyways, it just flew by.
It did.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
lots of fun. Did you have a little fun?
I did. Thank you
and
for having
thank
me.
you for coming. I really appreciate your presence and sharing yourself. And hopefully, as you know, we have a strong Hispanic community here in the Pierce County area. And, wish you luck. And hopefully, we'll be celebrating. And thank you.
Gracias.
Yeah, muchas
Gracias, Ryan.
Muchas
Mucho
gracias, Ryan.
gusto.
Okay, buenas noches.
Buenas
Y,
noches.
Gracias por
Good
escuchar,
night,
escucharnos
everyone.
ahora.
Thank you.
Okay. Salgan a votar.